season while recovering from his Achilles injury. But with the NBA season potentially returning with a later end date, there has been speculation if Durant could play. In February, KD's business partner hinted he might have been ready for the Olympics when they were originally scheduled for July. However, backtracked in March, saying he assumed KD would not return this year. So, Shannon, if KD and Kyrie play, how far would the Nets go with probably a shortened postseason situation?
Skip, I think the biggest thing for them would be chemistry. How do they play without stepping over each other? They have some good pieces right now, Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris. They have guys, Skip, that fill a nice role. They have some nice role players. Obviously, if KD and Kyrie were to come back, they would be inserted into the starting lineup, and then you'd have a nice second unit also, Skip. The hardest thing for me, Skip, is to see how would these guys play together? Because basically you'd be just throwing them into the fire. Now, we don't know how many regular season games they're going to play to finish this regular season out. Are they going to play 5? Are they going to play 10? Are they going to get in all 20? And then the playoff start, Skip, is it going to be the best 3 out of 5? I don't think it'll ever go back, Skip. You remember it used to be 2 out of 3 in the first round, but maybe 3 out of 5 for the first 2 rounds and then the best of 7 for the conference championships and obviously for the NBA finals. So that would be my concern, because Rich Kleiman, KD's business partner, said something very interesting. He would possibly be able to return for the Olympics that were going to start in July, but then said he didn't really know. He doesn't see a scenario where KD would return for the regular season or the playoffs. So, Skip, I think they're a little concerned. They don't want to chance this thing. I think that was just wishful thinking, pie in the sky. I don't really think KD would have played in the Olympics, even if the Olympics were to have gone off in late July of 2020. So, Skip, could they do some damage? Yes. They would be the second best team in the East. Still would have their hands full with Milwaukee, but I think they could potentially run through everybody else. Philly still have some issues going on. Right now, probably the third best team would probably be the Boston Celtics. Might cause them some problems, and the Miami Heat. But I would say they would be the second best team, second or third best, no worse than third in the East. I still give Milwaukee a slight edge.
I agree with your conclusion. I'm just going off a gut feeling, all I've seen, heard, read, and what I know about an Achilles rehab. I believe he's going to play in abbreviated playoffs and with, as to your point, an abbreviated close to the regular season. I think he is 100% healed, because you know and I know that a whole year's time is plenty of time to heal the Achilles. It's dangerous.
Correct.
It's the scariest one of all. It's hard because your calf atrophies, as you know, and you have a hard time getting the strength back in the Achilles side leg. And yet, by all accounts, from all the videos that I've seen him post, he looks great. I think he's anxious to play. He told the U.S. Olympic Team Selection Committee, put his name in the hat, that he wanted to be considered, depending on how his Achilles was doing. So that was the first note that encouraged me. And then even lately, I've seen Frank Isola, one of the top NBA reporters, report, I think on ESPN, he believes that both Kevin and Kyrie will play in whatever playoffs we have. I saw Brian Windhorst on ESPN say that he's leaning toward believing that Kevin will play. So the point is, and the question is, what if he and Kyrie do play? Well, I agree with your chemistry angle, because the only thing that would separate the Bucks then from the Nets is just that Kevin and Kyrie haven't played enough together, and they haven't played enough together with the supporting cast. And to your point, I think the supporting cast is pretty good, because Dinwiddie to me is just a natural-born scorer. Dinwiddie's averaging 21 a game. Now, they're 30 and 34. They're in the 7th spot. They haven't been very good. They've been mediocre at best. But Karis LeVert, he's like a ticking time bomb of a scorer. He recently went off for 51, and then he had a 34 recently. So he can score in bunches. And then we know Joe Harris he won a three-point shooting contest at the All-Star weekend. He's making 41% of his threes now. He can really shoot it. And then you didn't mention Jared Allen. He's averaging 10 rebounds a game. And don't forget, DeAndre Jordan is still there, and he's averaging 10 rebounds a game. Those two guys can protect the rim. I still believe Kevin is the best player on the planet. We saw him win back-to-back finals MVPs, and then it looked like he was all but on the way to winning another MVP and completely turning around the Toronto series a year ago, and that happened. The Achilles went. First it was the calf, then it was the Achilles. And yet you saw a big extended flash of, oh, there he is. That's Kevin Durant. Kyrie only played 20 games this year, but he was really good in those 20 games. He averaged 27.4, and he was making 39.4% of his three-point shots, going on 40% from three. That'll work. And he and Kevin, as you know, are oddly sort of soulmates. Kevin chose the Nets only because Kyrie said, hey, let's go to the Nets. And Kevin seemed to be like, okay, wherever you say, I'll go. And now they do have a rapport off the court. Could they establish one on the court? Probably pretty quickly. So I'm with you. That team would all of a sudden look loaded enough that it could at least challenge the Bucks to win some kind of a playoff tournament. And then on the other side, we got LeBron versus Kawhi and the Clippers. I don't know. I would favor Kawhi slightly and the Clippers slightly over LeBron. But, hey, would you rule out Kevin Durant shocking the world and winning it all? I wouldn't. He's too good. And he's fresh, and he loves Kyrie, and they get along so great together. I wouldn't count or write off this team. I wouldn't count them out or write them off.
Well, Skip, he's progressed to 3-on-3. At some point in time, he's going to have to play 5-on-5. He's going to have to put himself in a situation, Skip, where he really push off that leg. He really is driving. He's getting up and down the court. And the thing is, Skip, okay, when he gets tired, how many minutes are you going to play him? Is he going to be on a minutes restriction? Are you going to play him 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes a night, Skip? And all that goes into it, and the chemistry issue. Because, Skip, if they had played together, okay, I was like, okay, they know each other, they played together. But playing each other for a brief time, Skip, in the Olympics, 4 years ago, it's something entirely different having a guy on your team and trying to, not only blend that guy in, but you got to try to blend these other guys. And as you mentioned, Dinwiddie has a 50-point game. Karis LeVert has a 50-point game. Kyrie had a 50-point game this season. We know KD can get 50. He got 50 in a playoff game, last year against the Clippers. So you got four guys that potentially could go off at any point in time and give you 50. The point is, Skip, somebody's going to have to be accepting a role of coming off the bench. Now, I'm starting to feel myself, Karis LeVert said, hey, I broke my leg, came back early. I'm showing you what I can do. Dinwiddie is saying, I'm showing you what I can do. Skip, I'm sorry. All four of those guys are not going to be in the starting lineup. Somebody's going to have to say, you know what? I got to swallow my pride. Somebody's going to have to be Lou Williams. It's as simple as that, Skip. Somebody's going to have to be Lou Williams, sacrifice, come off the bench, and be offense. And like I said, I would say that at worst case, Skip, even with the chemistry issues, third best team in the East right now. Boston is playing really, really well, and we know what Milwaukee represent. But anybody else can be had, Skip. Anybody else can be had. They got enough bigs to throw at Joel Embiid. DeAndre Jordan, as you mentioned, Allen, they can throw a big body at him. Miami has tenacity. They're going to shoot a bunch of threes. But would I take them in a 5-game series over the Nets, especially if KD comes back and gets some time in the regular season and gets some timing down? I would not.
All I know is what you've always agreed with, which is Kevin Durant is a 7-foot monster with 8-foot reach. I've never seen anything like him before. He shoots it up so high. We're about to talk about, here in just a few minutes on the show, we're going to talk about Larry Bird, who shot the ball way back over his head. Well, Kevin Durant shoots it way up over his head at 7 feet tall. It is literally unblockable. And when he's on, it is literally unstoppable. He can also
Correct.
play defense. He can protect the rim. And
Yes.
he shocked me in the first big go-round with the Warriors against LeBron. I thought he would crumble under the pressure and expectation and the NBA world on the edge of its seats to watch him fall on his face because